Hello, everyone. We are joined by Jennifer Nunley from University of Alabama. Welcome, Jennifer. Thank you for joining me for this case study interview today.
I'll say thank you for having me.
Just to dive right in and get started, can you give us a little bit of background as to what you teach and stuff like that?
Yeah, I'm about to say is like I'm Jennifer Nunley. I currently teach for the University of Alabama. I teach in the business school within the operations management major. Operations management at its core says, hey, we have data, let's make information out of said data. And I teach the mass, or I'm part of our team that teaches the mass lectures of uh, operations management, our introductory class in the undergrad program. And in that program, we've been tasked with in the past 2 years to make sure we're teaching some type of analytics. We call it analytics in the core. And within that, we decided, hey, Excel is going to be our tool to teach basic analytics through, whether it's, averages, etc. But in that same process, we were realizing that we were going to have hundreds and then thousands of students across the semesters that we were going to have to hand grade Excel assignments. And we said no. I said no.
Does not sound like a lot of fun at all.
Yeah, I'm about to say it's like, because as I also was a teaching assistant for the class I now teach years ago, and we would have Excel assignments that I would have to take paper home and grade each individual assignment by hand. And it was always like the worst week or two of the semester when we had those assignments. And I didn't want to put my TAs through that in any type of way, especially when I know when most students from that assignment were just getting out how to click through Excel, not how to use and apply it.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, your main issue or concern was that the time it takes to grade each individual student assignment manually.
Yes, I would say and consistency, because let's be real, humans are going to produce errors, and as much, no matter how much it was, I was going to have errors,
Mhm.
and students would come back and state those to me.
They would definitely let you know.
Yes,
I
yes.
can empathize with that. So that's a clear understanding of the issue. And so now you've been introduced to XPrep. You've been using us for 2 semesters. How has XPrep changed or remedied some of the issues that you were having prior to us?
I about to say it's like it's immensely changed the course, because my course does, because I teach the mass lecture and I teach a smaller lecture. And the smaller lecture I've been using XPrep for a long time, or 2 semesters now. And it's made it go from taking most of my TA's times, where I have a TA that per each section for 10 hours, and they were taking 8 to 9 of those hours to grade these assignments by hand each week. Now that we have XPrep dialed in and we know what's how we want to change it and all the kinks worked out, they're now spending 6 7 hours being able to tutor students instead of actually grading. They might
Mhm.
have to do some syncing or maybe submit an assignment for somebody for some reason. But now my TAs are now allocated to actually help students, not just grade assignments, which has been a great improvement from previous semesters, because even my students are seeing a better success rate in my courses. So it's like it's been immensely successful in my course, my Excel course.
And another positive to that, if TAs are interested in moving forward with their careers in academia, they get to experience that other piece of it. It's not just about grading. It's not just about standing in front of the hall and giving this lecture to a mass audience. It's about connecting with the students and making sure that you're there to assist and be a resource in other ways. And so it sounds like they get some of that time back.
Yes, and they do. And my TA that's been with me both semesters we've used XPrep,
Mhm.
he's doing that immensely now. Like I'm trying to convince him to become a teacher, but
He seems like he's already 1 foot in.
he is. I just keep digging at it each time.
Mhm.
but and that's because that's what he's passionate about. He's like, I love the technology, but I also love my students and I want my friends and my peers and my students to be successful. So
Mhm.
he's constantly pouring into them, and he can because he has the time available,
Yes.
which is great.
Love that, love that. Is there anything else that you wanna share about your experience with ExPrep?
I'm about to say is like I chose ExPrep as our software platform to move forward with because it was so flexible. I looked at other publishers' platforms for grading Excel, but it wasn't actually using Excel. It was using a
Mhm,
simulated version of it. And it would only say, hey, you have to do it this way.
mhm,
That's not how Excel works.
mhm,
I've dealt with Excel hundreds of hours myself. Just because I do something one way doesn't mean it has to be done that exact way.
mhm,
For instance, you can use a VLOOKUP, you can use an XLOOKUP. It's going to give you the same results. So I was like, that's one reason I was like, oh, I like XPrep because there's so many different ways that I can say, hey, you get the right answer, there's a formula there. That's what I care about.
right.
So I was like, that's some, if not most of the allure that I've loved about XPrep.
Mhm. Yeah, we definitely try to make sure that we customize it for every professor based on how they want to grade and what is important to them that the students get out of the class. And
Mm-hmm.
so we try to offer that flexibility, and so it's great to hear that it's working in some aspects.
Mm-hmm. Now, I'd say it's like because my whole philosophy on teaching isn't just, oh, learn how to use Excel. Well, that, yes, but like, I need you to learn how to think and learn how to
Mhm,
be able to use and apply this because your boss isn't going to care if you know how to click through. Your boss is going to care if you know how to use it and apply
mm,
it.
right,
That's how I try and teach my students too, which doesn't work if you're saying, hey, you can only do it this way though.
right, good point, good point.
So that's something I've been very excited about.
Wonderful. Well, I definitely appreciate your time with me today and answering our questions and just giving us a little bit more insight from the professor perspective.
Thank you
Thank you
for
so
having
much.
me.